Let's move into Champions Select for Game 1. CJ Entus versus SK Telecom. Our first match of Champion Spring 2016. So good to be back.
It is, and we are playing on patch 5.24. There were some issues with 6.1, so we will not be running it this week, guys.
Yep.
So
last minute decision to swap it back.
Yeah, next week we will be on 6.1 here in Korea. Rise and Fiora, first bans, GP, and of course, Faker the only player at the World Championship playing Rise, but he showed why that particular pick is ban-worthy, and of course many more people have taken that pick in the meantime, learned it to the same degree, and are now running it, so no surprise bans so far based on the current meta. Lissandra, very powerful in either mid or top lane.
You know, what about those other strong picks that we've been hearing about lately? The Trundle, of course, Misfortune, Ezreal's really back with a blue build again. I mean, do you think we're going to see those for the last two bans?
We possibly could. The Ezreal ban is definitely a possibility. It will be MF, actually.
Yep. And so, there's the Lulu. Okay, so still some really powerful picks available for both teams.
Could be a Kindred first.
Yep.
All right,
still
so
very strong in the jungle.
Yeah, Kindred, one of the stronger junglers right now. Among other junglers that have been seeing popularity, if you are not familiar with the way pros are playing currently, it has been a lot of Elise. Graves jungle is quite strong right now. So there's a lot of kind of interesting jungle picks bouncing around. We will see a Tahm Kench. Now this could possibly be a top lane Tahm Kench, which has been seeing increased play.
Yeah. I wonder. I just want to see some Trundle support, man. I've been playing a little bit lately. It's about as bloodthirsty as you can get. That is my kind of support pick. But just in general right now, we're at a state in the game where tanks are just stupid powerful.
Yes, they are. And a lot of the reason behind that is the changes to Last Whisper and the difficulty of killing tanks in the late game once they start getting a lot of HP and armor stats up there. So they have become very potent, and since Trundle can steal a lot of those tank stats. Interestingly, no Mundo pick yet. That's going to be a major power pick on this particular patch. So will Malphite in the top lane, and Sky could be taking over this Twisted Fate, and Alistar, certainly one of the best supports still available.
Okay, so TF Alistar will be the picks then for CJ. And SK Telecom thinking about locking in the Trundle and the Zed right away. Faker Zed, of course, legendary. And Zed really isn't in a bad spot right now.
No, he's in a fine spot, especially in the mid lane in the TF matchup. You have a lot of 1v1 kill pressure in that particular mid lane scenario. You could see Bengi returning to the Rek'Sai here.
Well, his Rek'Sai was truly a force to be reckoned with in Season 5. It looks like he's going to bring it for the first game of 2016 as well. Faker. And, I really wanted to see Faker Zed. How great would it be to see Faker Zed in the first game of the year?
It's powerful, but again, especially when you have the Kindred, but the Alistar is not the most appealing target. I haven't been seeing a lot of Yasuo play recently, so it might be a bit of a surprise, but then again, you do have some power with the Wind Wall, and Kassadin, a much more conventional pick. Duke also a very good Kassadin player in the top lane. It is a flex pick at the moment.
Yep. Oh, it's going to switch over to Corki, and that could be mid or ADC, couldn't it?
It's going to be a mid lane Corki. This is another thing that's been taking a lot of priority, especially with Tahm Kench. What you do is you play double AD carry compositions, and you play Tahm Kench in the top lane. So basically it becomes almost impossible to kill their carries. And so I assume we're going to be saving a support pick for last here from SKT.
Yeah, I suppose it could still be the Tahm Kench for support.
I think it's going to be a Trundle last pick, just because you have so much zoning potential with the Pillar and also great siege with 280 carries that way. For CJ, Gnar definitely an option. They're going to be looking for a pretty tanky front line. You need a tanky top laner generally when you play with Kindred, because she really changes the way that you draft, because you do have an 80 carry coming out of the jungle, so you need something that's a little bit more stout in your front line.
Really?
They will be setting it up with Maokai and Ashe.
Ashe, okay. The Maokai, not too surprising, I suppose, but the Ashe pick is a little bit interesting.
Well, this is a pick comp, Dilla, and what you can do is you have two global forms of initiation with hard CC in terms of Ashe's arrow and TF's ult with a gold card. So this is going to be very powerful at taking out single targets and getting into the back line of this double AD carry composition. It should be a Trundle lock here.
Yes. Bring on the Trundle support. I want to see some trolling.
But especially with the Maokai pick. It makes that Trundle selection even more attractive.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got Maokai, Alistar on the other side to grab those stats from with the Trundle ult. Thinking about the Thresh. Wolf's a great Thresh player, of course. We haven't seen him play Trundle yet.
Thresh would offer a little bit more disengage against the strong engage of CJ, so that could be a major reason. Will be actually the Thresh locked in. I'm a bit surprised. But
oh, I'm a bit sad. I'm just kind of sad. That's the only thing that's making me sad right now. Otherwise, I'm really happy that we're doing Champions again. So there's our lineups, and I've got a question for you. One of the strengths of Tahm Kench, right, is to be able to grab the jungler and then show up anywhere on the map with the ultimate.
Yeah,
with Rek'Sai, isn't that a little bit redundant? Because Rek'Sai can already have that mobility to a certain extent?
Well, still, you've got double globals coming in, right? So that's going to be very powerful. We have 2 teleports. Of course, Sky going to be playing the teleport TF. And so it's going to be a lot of map movement here. Should be a very dynamic game. I would expect there to be quite a few kills in this one.
Oh, I hope so, man. Seems like in general we're just seeing a lot more kills in League, and that makes Doa happy.
Shorter games, more kills. That is the name of this new season for sure.
Well, there's our final lineup. Zuntara on that Maokai, Bubbling on Kindred, Sky on TF, Kramer on that Ashe, Madlife on Alistar. I don't know if I'm going to get through all these names before the game starts. Duke on Tahm Kench, Bengi on Rek'Sai, Corki, played by Faker Bang, playing Kalista, and Wolf on his classic Thresh. There we go. I got through it.
You did.
I got through it, guys.
Great work.
And it's time. Game number 1 of Champion Spring. CJ Entus versus SK Telecom. CJ's new squad, new coaches against the World Championships. It really does seem like a David versus Goliath matchup in our first series of the year. But we've been surprised before. I just don't think it's going to happen this time.
Let's get into it.
Yep, time to get into game number 1, guys. Let's do it.
Mother Nature, everybody wants to rule the world.
Whoa, check that out. Wow. Well, welcome to Summoner's Rift, guys, for our first game of 2016 here at OGN Champions in Korea, Doha and Monte Cristo. So happy to be back with you guys for another great year of League of Legends, and it will be great as we see SK Telecom's own Faker fresh off the win at Worlds Season 5 in Berlin.
And the loss to ESE Ever in the Kespa Cup.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that, though. We'll just move on. That's okay. Yeah, what were you saying? Oh, yeah, that's right. So Corki in the mid lane. That's interesting. Let's talk about that instead of SK Telecom.
Yeah, extremely strong poke. I'm not sure that Corki would have been the best choice here combined with Kalista. Obviously, you do have strong initiation with the Thresh combo with the Kalista, but in any case, less mobility, less poke, less siege potential. But still very strong, and Duke going to be playing that top lane Tahm Kench, something that I had seen him playing in solo queue for quite some time.
Yep, Kramer. What's the deal with AD carries?
Yeah, he didn't have a very good Worlds performance, actually. He looked like he was having a lot of trouble communicating with his team. Obviously, Korean to Chinese communication issue could have been rearing its head right there, but he did get replaced by NL. After a time in the World Championship, but just looked a little bit uncomfortable. So we'll see how he performs now back on a wholly Korean lineup. So that's poke damage there.
The wholly Korean lineup. You sure? It is CJ. Well, I guess they do have Madlife.
Yes,
so
they do have Madlife. God, what are you talking
about?
All
right, it is a wholly Korean lineup. All right, I agree. You won me over. Yeah. NL had some words for the Korean commentators in our information. He said, "You guys keep," Kramer. He said, "You guys keep comparing me to NL. You've done it many times, and I'm very sad. Please be nice to me now." I'm reading this from our info sheet here in front of me. Doesn't want to be compared to NL, so don't you do it. I'll be watching you, Monty.
We'll just compare him to Space then.
Oh, well, how about Woong?
You have to go through your CJ AD carries?
Yeah. Madlife has arguably never truly had a great AD carry to lane with here in Champions.
A lot of people saying that Ghost is really going to be something special, and like BDD, he will be turning 17 and therefore eligible to play at the professional level in March, a little bit later in VDD, but should be very interesting to see how that goes. Kramer having a tough time CSing here early on, Bang and Wolf.
Really tough, yeah. A lot of pressure coming in from SKT's bot lane, but Bang's Kalista, if you talk about power picks, this was one of the champions that he would just simply win on every single time. So to give that to him right away, you're not exactly putting yourself in an easy spot, are you?
No, definitely a comfort pick for him. I believe this is going to be Faker's first game on Corki, too. So, but this is, guys, this is when we enter the new season of League of Legends, this kind of composition that SKT is running is going to be quite popular. Just because Tahm Kench is virtually unkillable when he actually gets items in that top lane, and therefore you can protect some damage dealers very, very well. But again, I like what CJ's doing with their long-range engage. They do have a lot of single-target crowd control with Ashe and TF and Maokai. Also very easy ganks on the top side. So Tahm Kench, Duke, going to have to play very conservatively here if he wants to avoid getting teleported on and killed by the Maokai Kindred and TF combination.
Yeah, corrupting potions for Faker and Duke in their lanes. Oh, maybe a gank attempt coming in.
Yeah, that's going to be
Faker from bubbling. Yeah, it doesn't exactly work out. But what do you think about corrupting potion right now?
I mean, it's just a strong laning tool early on, so definitely a good pickup. We'll see it quite a bit in the mid and top lane. Pretty common stuff, especially for champions that have a bit longer range and have some poke potential there to continuously put down the damage.
Tara, Sky though, just a bunch of Doran's rings. Faker, whoa, Wolf, able to grab Kramer, do a lot of damage there. Not too bad. Of course they do have that sustain from Alistar, so it's going to be something that's mitigated, but Kramer's still pretty far behind in CS for this point in the game.
And Tara going for a double Doran's ring build, so really trying to pack a punch here early against the potion that Duke has picked up. Is getting a pretty healthy CS advantage. Bubbling going to get caught out here, actually. He's going to get collapsed on. He should not be there.
Yeah, this is super dangerous. Bubbling trying to make it back to the Dragon Pit. Maybe get over the wall. There's the flash. He's going to hop over the wall, but at least they burned a summoner spell there. Meanwhile, a bit of a duel with the Tri-Brush. Wolf trying to chase down Kramer. They're going to get pulled in. Kramer in a lot of trouble, and it's going to be first blood going over to Bengi. Yeah, a solid long-time jungler picking up the first kill of 2016.
Yeah, Bubbling, he's an amateur jungler. He played a little bit on Winners. He was on Anarchy, the team that is now Africa Freaks before Lyra joined. And that's a very amateur pathing mistake right there. So he was trying to get into the river, but Faker and the bot lane of SKT both had their lanes pushed up. Meanwhile, Sky wasn't 6, and they didn't have really any vision in there. So if you try and make a play on that situation, the collapse just comes so fast. It forced Madlife and Kramer into the Tri-Brush, and then pretty easy kill, nice lantern gank there.
Oh, here we go again, Faker. Just going ahead, Valkyrieing away.
Yeah, good luck ganking mid lane, Corky.
That might not be too easy. Faker having no issues at all staying alive.
Yeah, especially because Faker's running Cleanse this game. He sees all that crowd control coming through, so even if you hit a gold card, it's not going to do much, and the jungler doesn't have flash. So Bubbling having some, I think, decision-making issues early on in this game. But again, it's a very young player, so we'll see how he does.
I mean, like you mentioned earlier, it's really a rebuilding year for CJ. I mean, they had to make a lot of big changes. Whenever you have to make changes like that in an organization, there's going to be a time of adjustment. You're not going to win a lot right away. That almost never happens in any sport, esport or otherwise. So if you're a CJ fan, you kind of just have to hang in there and maybe hope for a playoff spot if you're lucky this season, I think.
Yeah, and honestly, I think if you're a CJ fan, you're probably actually pretty excited about the fact that there are new players on this roster, because if there's been one consistent criticism of the CJ organization, it's been that they've been holding on to legacy players well past their prime and haven't really gotten the necessary new blood to remain competitive.
Yeah, and that was largely a criticism, it seemed like, was pointed towards the coaching staff, and with that completely turned over, we immediately saw a huge turnover in roster as well. So it is good to see CJ finally looking towards making those decisions that might eventually bring them another championship.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a very long time, but
yeah,
for an organization that was so powerful early on in their League of Legends careers or legacy.
Oh, Bengi harassing Untara just a little bit, slowing him down with that smite. Duke coming up. Untara might have to burn his flash to get away from this one. He certainly will. They're going to go right after him, though. Untara still in trouble. He's got his ult pop. Can they grab him in time? There we go. Tahm Kench takes a bite out of him, and that is going to be another kill for SK Telecom. Duke with his first kill as an SKT player.
Yeah, Not a whole lot they can do. Sky all the way back in base, no TP up and out of range for his popularity. If you are not familiar with the way pros are playing currently, it has been a lot of Elise. Graves jungle is quite strong right now. So there's a lot of kind of interesting jungle picks bouncing around. We will see a Tom Kench. Now this could possibly be a top lane Tom Kench, which is definitely a possibility. It will be MF, actually.
Yep. And so there's the Lulu. Okay, so still some really powerful picks available for both teams.
Could be a Kindred first.
Yep.
All right,
Still
so
very strong in the jungle.
Yeah, Kindred, one of the stronger junglers right now. Among other junglers that have been seeing.
Let's move into Champions Select for Game 1. CJ Entus versus SK Telecom. Our first match of Champion Spring 2016. So good to be back.
It is, and we are playing on patch 5.24. There were some issues with 6.1, so we will not be running it this week, guys.
Yep.
So
last minute
now running it, so no surprise bans so far based on the current meta. Lissandra, very powerful in either mid or top lane.
You know, what about those other strong picks that we've been hearing about lately? The Trundle, of course, Misfortune, Ezreal's really back with a blue build again. I mean, do you think we're going to see those for the last two bans?
We possibly could. The Ezreal ban is
a decision to swap it back.
Yeah, next week we will be on 6.1 here in Korea. Ryze and Fiora, first bans. GP, and of course, Faker, the only player at the World Championship playing Ryze, but he showed why that particular pick is ban-worthy, and of course many more people have taken that pick in the meantime, learned it to the same degree,